I never thought I'd have to set a trap inside my own bedroom, but that's exactly what I did. Because one night, while my pregnant wife was asleep, the president of our HOA used a master key and walked straight into our home. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about rules or fines anymore. It was about survival, about protecting the one place that should have been untouchable. My name's Daniel, and I design security systems for hospitals, airports, even federal facilities. I don't play with gadgets. I build the walls that stop people who don't respect boundaries. Willow Creek Estates was supposed to be the safe neighborhood where my wife Emily could rest easy while carrying our child. Instead, it turned into a place where a single woman, Karen, decided a brass key gave her more power than the law, more power than common sense, and more power than the families who actually lived here. At first, I tried to treat it like a misunderstanding. Maybe she thought she had authority to check something. Maybe she'd at least knock. But no, Karen wasn't shy about it. She called me paranoid, mocked my sensors, and then had the nerve to send us a fine $200 a day until I removed what she called illegal surveillance. I remember Emily's hand trembling when she opened that letter. 6 months pregnant, exhausted from restless nights, and now terrified because some stranger felt entitled to step into our bedroom. That letter wasn't just about money, it was about dominance. I should have been used to it. Everyone in Willow Creek had their story. The retired teacher forced to tear down his rose trellis. The young mom humiliated for hanging pool toys on her patio. Fines, stacked threats made all while Karen strutted around with that master key swinging from her lanyard like a badge of honor. I'd seen bullies before, but this one lived 3 doors down and wore authority like perfume, strong, cheap, and suffocating. Still, I wasn't made of stone. One night after another letter arrived, heavier this time, over 1,000 in fines, plus a threat of legal action. I sat at the dining table staring at it until the ink blurred. Emily whispered, "Maybe we should just make it stop." And for a moment I considered it. For a moment I thought maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I should have just stayed quiet, followed the rules, taken down the devices. What good is pride if my wife can't sleep, if my child is born into chaos? That's when the doubt hit hardest. I'd fought hackers, intruders, criminals. But here in my own neighborhood, I felt powerless. Like one stubborn neighbor was enough to break me. But that's when I opened the logs. I stared at the screen until the numbers sank in timestamps, door entries, the exact moment Karen slipped into our bedroom at 2:17 a.m. That wasn't paranoia. That was fact. Cold, undeniable. And when I cross-checked it with the HOA's own inspection record signed in her handwriting, no mention of authorization, it lined up perfectly. She had documented her own crime. Suddenly, I wasn't a man doubting himself anymore. I was a man with proof. And the cracks in her empire started to show. Matthew, the HOA secretary, carried guilt on his face like it weighed 100 pounds. His shoulders hunched, eyes darting whenever I walked by. One night at the pool, he broke. His voice was tight, shaky, but the words came out, "She made us sign off on it," even when it wasn't legit. She said residents needed reminders who was in charge. He looked like he wanted to disappear after saying it, but I knew then I wasn't fighting alone. So I built my case. Hours at my office, redundant servers humming as I encrypted every file. A chain of custody report graphs mapping each intrusion, screenshots of Karen's notes, even the exact statute proving my sensors were legal. I translated it into something simple, something every neighbor could understand without a degree in cybersecurity. Red dots on a calendar, handwriting on an inspection log, the brass key itself blown up on screen. A story even fear couldn't silence. The monthly HOA meeting arrived and Karen was ready. She walked in, last polished suit key flashing at her waist, smug grin plastered across her face. She started with budgets, landscaping, pool rules, all with that clipped tone that made everyone shrink in their chairs. Then she got to me. "Mr. Whitmore continues to disregard community standards," she announced, her voice sharp as glass. "The board will now decide whether to pursue legal enforcement." She expected me to sit quietly, maybe sputter a defense while she banged her gavel. Instead, I stood, calm, steady, carrying my case. The room went silent as I connected the laptop to the projector. The first slide lit up a calendar marked with red circles. "These," I said, "are the nights the master key turned my locks without consent." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I clicked again, encrypted logs translated into graphs, each timestamp aligned with the HOA's own records. Gasps. Then Karen's handwriting appeared on the screen, scrawled next to an entry at 2:17 a.m. A woman in the front row pressed her hand to her mouth. Karen's smile collapsed into fury. She slammed the gavel. "Out of order. This is irrelevant." But before she could finish, Matthew's pen clattered onto the table. His hands shook as he stood. "It's true," he said, voice trembling but clear. "She ordered us to sign off on inspections that weren't real." The dam burst. Voices rose from every corner. "She searched my garage. She fined me for nothing." The fear that had kept them silent for years evaporated in an instant. I let the final slide appear, a giant image of the brass key glowing against white. "This isn't a symbol of safety," I said. "It's a record of abuse, and it stops tonight." The room erupted. Neighbors shouted, pointing at Karen, demanding answers. She stood red-faced, yelling that I was manipulating them, twisting information. But when I dropped a printed copy of state law on the table, when I reminded everyone that I designed systems for hospitals and would testify under oath, her words fell flat. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The authority in her voice had died. Matthew spoke again, stronger this time. "She made us falsify records. I signed them because I was told it was procedure. But it wasn't. It was a cover." The clubhouse shook with outrage. "Vote her out," someone yelled. "Investigate the board," another shouted. For the first time, Karen's gavel didn't silence anyone. It sounded desperate, hollow. And that's how it ended. Not with her controlling the room, but with the community standing up, voices louder than her threats. The master key that once hung like a weapon was stripped away, locked in the association safe where it belonged. Karen, the woman who thought fear was stronger than truth, was left clutching a gavel no one respected. Fear only works until proof shows up. After that, it crumbles.